Good evening and welcome to the South County Fire Board of Commissioners regular board meeting for January 6, 2026. I'll go ahead and call us to order. And this evening we have the pleasure of having the Pledge of Allegiance led by Cub Scout Pack 120, the Weeblo's Den, the four flying caterpillar trees. So if I could have them join me up here for the flag salute. Come on up. Right over here. Nope, right over here. Good. We stand right here. Right in line. Here's our flag over here. Sit right there. If I could have everybody please stand to the flag. Eddie, go ahead and lead us to the flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay, next up we have the commissioner swearing in for the three commissioners newly elected. And we're going to start with Commissioner Lawrence will be our first swearing in.
Oh, yeah. I have my
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, Commissioner Lawrence. How are you?
Late.
Can you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Mark Lawrence,
I, Mark Lawrence,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge
the duties of the office of South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue RFA Commissioner District 3
of the office of the South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue RFA Commissioner District 3
for a 6-year term according to law to the best of my ability.
for a 6-year term according to the law to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Commissioner Lawrence.
Next up, we have Joe Wankelman, and he will be joined by his wife, Suli. We want to recognize Michael Regan, who is here this evening with Commissioner Wankelman, and doing the swearing in will be Judge Bouffieu from Linwood Municipal Court.
Please raise your right hand. I, Joseph Wankelman,
I, Joseph Wankelman,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the State of Washington,
of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform
and discharge the duties of the office
and discharge the duties of the office
of South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue RFA Commissioner District 1
of South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue RFA Commissioner District 1
for a 6-year term
for a 6-year term
according to law and the best of my ability.
according to law and to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wankelman, would you like to say a few words?
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank all of my family, everyone here. I want to thank the CRP program. I want to thank each of the chiefs, and I want to thank the commissioners for allowing me to have this opportunity and let the work begin.
And finally, we welcome Jim Kenny. Like that. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jim Kenny,
I, Jim Kenny,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge
the duties of the office of South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue RFA Commissioner, District 5,
the duties of the office of South Snohomish County Fire and Rescue RFA Commissioner District 5
for a 6-year term according to the law to the best of my ability.
for a 6-year term according to the law to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
So next with the swearing in, why don't we take a few official photos, or at least do an official photo of the board. Then we're going to take a break for if there are any private photos that people would like to take, either up here at the dais. We have some coffee and cookies. We can take a break, and then folks are welcome to stay after that. We'll go on with the regular meeting beyond that. But we'll take a little break after we do some photographs. So if we could, let's have the board come down for a photo in front of the dais. Oh, very fun. I had a haircut just for that. Hey, David. I had a haircut just for this. Just one little kind of. First, you want our arms around each other?
Everyone, 1, 2, 3.
Let's get a photo of Chief Eastman up here. Chief, come on. Really? Let's have. Oh, my whole career not doing that.
You'll be in
It's always
new
on my
commissioner
time.
very soon.
What's that? You wanna be in the middle?
You'll be new commissioner very soon.
Put you in the middle.
Because I was circular fire today.
Right here in between commissioner chambers.
Okay, we are back on the record from our brief recess. I'm ready to start with our first meeting of the year. First up, we have approval of the agenda. Chief, I don't believe we have anything else for the agenda. So commissioners, you have in front of you the agenda. Anything else for the agenda? If not, I'll move the adoption of the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Next up, we have the consent agenda, item number 5, which is 5A, the December 30, 2025 claims vouchers totaling $580,623.76, and 5B, the January 6, 2026 claims vouchers totaling $155,129.80. I'll move the adoption of those two consent agenda items. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Fernhoff. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda items. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That takes us to item number 6, which is approval of the meeting minutes. And tonight, under 6A, we have the December 16, 2025 regular meeting minutes. I will move the adoption of those December 16, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Is there a second? Is there a second? Commissioner Wittes, it's been moved and seconded to approve those meeting minutes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That takes us to item number 7, which is election of the board chair and vice chair for 2026. And we traditionally start with the board chair. Are there any nominations for board chair? Commissioner Wittes.
I make a motion for Jim Kenny for chair.
It's been moved to nominate Jim Kenny for chair.
I'm second that.
Then there's a second for that. Are there any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for chair? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, one motion passes on a 6-1 vote. Thank you. Next up, we have election of the vice chair and Commissioner Lawrence.
Yeah, I nominate Michael Ferdahoff to keep this seat warm.
And I will second that motion. It's been moved and seconded to nominate Michael Fernhoff as vice chair. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Very good. And Vice Chair Fernhoff, any words?
Thank you.
Excellent. I concur. Very good. We'll take care of that at the next meeting.
It's too hot.
Oh, it's never too hot. Okay, that takes us forward in the agenda then to item number 8, which is public comment. We'll start first in the room and then go to our Zoom platform. Is there any request for public comment here in the room? Any request for public comment here in the room? Not seeing any request for public comment in the room. Let me go to Ms. Blankenship and ask if there is any public comment request on our Zoom platform.
There is not.
There is not. Great. Thank you, Ms. Blankenship. I'll come back one last time to the room. Any requests for public comment here in the room? Not seeing any requests. Thank you. We will move forward in the agenda then to item number 9, which is the fire chief's report. And good evening, Chief Eastman.
Good evening, Chair Kenny, commissioners, staff, and the public. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks. We had a busy weekend with fires. I'm going to have John, Chief Chaffant, talk about those, and then I've got another couple comments after that.
Good evening, Commission, staff, and public. For the 2 fires that we had over the holiday weekends here, December 28th, as you see on the screen, you had a 2-alarm residential fire in a multifamily structure. It went second alarm on that. That's why you see the 70+ firefighters. We did end up with the 1 fatality. I'll tell you, that's much better than the initial reports, which also included 4 children trapped in one of the apartments on dispatch. In talking with some of the crews and the BC that went on this call, had some fortunate things occur. A call occurred roughly at midnight, and many of the closest stations had just returned from another call out on I-5. So we had a wake alert, firefighters ready to jump in their gear and move out. So got on scene really quick. The battalion chief that ran this incident for us described it very similar to the Scriber apartment fire here, I don't know, 5-10 years ago now maybe, but real fast moving. Crew got in, did a really nice job. A lot of compliments went out to Captain Kuhn on Engine 76 that night, Battalion Chief Blatchley from our department, and then Battalion Chief Potts from Battalion 25 in Mukilteo showed up on scene, did some really good work for us on that one as well. So overall, good incident as far as our actions and motions on the scene. Unfortunate that there was a fatality on this one. So that was the December 28th fire. And then on January 2nd, this fire came in, and it's actually in the city of Everett jurisdiction. We were first due in on this with engine 11. You see the Captain Dorsey, engine operator Jackson Olney, and firefighter McGarry were the first unit on scene with Battalion 25 close in behind it, because simultaneously Everett was dealing with an incident over kind of by the Costco here off Bothell Everett Highway that was an MCI. Took up quite a few of our resources, as well as Battalion 11, who then went to this fire. But they also did rescue out of this building. And as they got outside, Engine 11, we got the report, went inside, 2 in, 1 out, got the victim, started bringing them outside to hand off to Engine 6 and Medic 21, who performed the CPR and then ultimately transported. And the last I talked with Christy today, her reports were yesterday that person is still alive. So very good job for all the crews on that incident as well. Good coordination. And really, I think most of you know the size of our commercial response, which this would have been. And really with Engine 11, Engine 6, Medic 21, and Battalion 25, they said by the time the other units got there, 99% of the work was done. So really excellent job by our crews on this one. That's what I got for it. Any questions, concerns?
Any questions for Chief Chalfant? Yes. Commissioner Roll.
Yeah, I just want to say, just from the radio traffic side, that was an excellent response. You could tell that it was almost like a well-oiled machine. Everybody just performed swimmingly. I'm glad to hear the CPR in progress turned out to be a save.
Yeah.
And my hat is off to everybody involved. Just a fantastic job. So please pass that on if you would.
Yeah, for sure. And you know that we do obviously do a lot of regional training with Everett, Mukilteo that we were on these incidents, but we also do quarterly training at the battalion level and do what we call command staff training. So we bring in regional battalion chiefs once a quarter to mix with RBCs, go over different class topics and things to where we get all of those BCs trying to operate off of the same sheet of music moving forward. So that's been an improvement over the last few years.
The one thing I'd like to add is next week, we have WHA, the new insurance broker, that will be presenting to you for our renewal. And so come prepared for that. I know CFO Bothwell is going to be on a well-deserved couple-week vacation. And so we'll be having them have a conversation with you guys on the 13th. And then, as you know, the renewal happens very quickly. So that'll be before you, the last meeting of the month to approve for renewal. The time frame on this is shorter because we transitioned. And there was a time frame where WHA couldn't get some of the information needed until certain time frames and that. And so I'm looking forward to WHA. I think they'll take us to the next place and move us forward. And so I know we'll have stuff in the packet for you, and they'll be here. And I just wanted to let you know it's coming so you could be thinking about it, because there's usually good conversation and questions that come from the board. And since we have a new provider that's doing that work on our behalf and partnering with us to do that, I suspect it'll be a little bit longer conversation just for you guys as you guys get to know him. You've met him, they've talked to you, but now we're getting to the point where they're going to talk about the renewal of the policies and with anticipation of action the following week. So I just wanted to let you know it's coming, to get us thinking about that piece, because I know it's one that typically stirs a lot of good conversation, a lot of good questions, and both Winslow and Jeff Griffin are looking forward to the conversation with you. So with that, I don't have anything else for Chief's report. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. Questions from the board members for the chief on the chief's report? Any questions? Great. Thank you, Chief. All right, up next, we have our legal report with Richard Davis is here with us tonight in person, and that is outstanding. Mr. Davis, we see you regularly on Zoom, but we haven't seen you in person here. So the technology of Zoom is great, but also good to see you in person. So welcome tonight for our first meeting of the year.
Thank you. Good to be here. I happen to be in the neighborhood, so I decided to just attend in person. After having been away for so long, I noticed that my sign has disappeared. So Melissa told me she wasn't going to put it out because I'm going to be in the back row back there after this. The one thing I wanted to mention tonight is something that's started to come up more and more in my practice. And we've talked about it internally as a firm, and that is artificial intelligence. And it's sort of triggered by a question that Commissioner Rowland asked a few weeks ago. And I thought I would just make a few comments about this, because I think it's something that we need to start thinking about. And my recommendation is to draft a policy that deals with it. Artificial intelligence is something that I tend not to think about unless I'm required to do so. It's a new technology. It can be used for great things, but it can also be used improperly. It can be misused, and it's by no means perfect. We're in the inception stages, and there's going to be a lot of developments, but there are some things already that are taking place in public agencies that you can see that it's being misused. There was an article just this last week in the local paper for Whatcom County where a city of Bellingham employee used artificial intelligence in order to design a request for proposals that was specifically designed to weed out a competitor. And what they were doing is they were looking for vendors for a utility billing software program. And all of the prompts that were put into the chatbot were saved as a public record, and there's an investigation going on right now. But at the end of the day, the prompts allowed this individual to create an RFP that essentially made one vendor less desirable than the other vendor who was ultimately selected. $2.7 million project, and the vendor that was selected was $1 million higher than the one who would have otherwise been selected. So you can see that there's a financial impact that can occur by misuse of AI. There are a variety of issues associated with AI once you start thinking about it. I mean, I spoke briefly at the legal committee for the WFCA on the fact that your chatbot records, if you use artificial intelligence and you say you use ChatGPT and you sign into that, well, that creates a record that is saved, and that is a public record that is subject to disclosure unless it's been destroyed. And I've talked about some retention issues associated with that. It doesn't have much retention value, but it is nonetheless a public record. Artificial intelligence can have inherent biases. It can have what are called hallucinations, where it kind of spits out confidently information that just isn't true. In the legal field, we've noticed, or it's been observed, that there are false citations. So it looks like someone is citing to a case, the case doesn't exist. So there's all kinds of issues, not just in the municipal context, but in the legal field as well. And then finally, there's kind of ethical issues associated with AI. Employees can use AI and it looks like they're performing work when in fact it may be the product of what comes out of the chatbot. So how do you evaluate employees? So the bottom line is that there are a number of issues to work through and to prepare for what is inevitably going to be increased usage of AI. And we've been asked by a couple of clients recently to draft policies that related to that. And so I've been thinking about it, and I think that it's something that South County Fire ought to consider this year in 2026 in order to kind of get ahead of the curve. And with that, I'll conclude my report and see if there's any questions.
Questions from the board members? Commissioner Chan and Commissioner Rowland.
Well, Happy New Year. Really good to see you. You talk about AI. I really thinking, I know in the future, I would still like to see you once in a while in here, maybe monthly or quarterly, whatever, something, because a lot of time it's good that when you before the meeting, we can talk to you, asking some questions and interaction, and then make sure you're not AI on the Zoom meeting too. But address the AI situation. Are we going to, I know because it's so new, you got all these kind of risk and everything else. And are we going to spend a lot of money to deal with the AI thing from your clients? I know.
I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I just think that there ought to be protocols. First of all, AI requires human intervention, right? I mean, it doesn't have any ethical constraints on it. In the case of that I was talking about, the city of Bellingham, there was never a prompt by AI that, hey, what you're doing here as a public official is in violation of the statute. You ought not do this, right? There's no governor to, and so I think that what you need to have as a policy, it says, here's how you use AI, the responsible, cautious use. And approval by supervisors is necessary for use in certain circumstances. I don't think you need to spend a lot of money, but I just think protocols ought to be.
But I'm concerned about detection, right? I mean, how can your staff do something using AI? I know that the problem with school too, now they have some software to verify the students, to make sure they're not copying somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because, even your cases, right? I mean, even your attorney, you're not going to have some kind of to see, is that the case there? I mean, that's my concern. There's a lot of resources. How do you detect the AI thing?
And I'm by no means an expert in that, but I think your IT folks can probably help with that and can monitor what kind of usage is being done. But that's something, again, that's one of those things to think through and figure out what can we do to see how AI is being used here. And when it is, do we provide a disclaimer on whatever product is produced that this was, the assistance of AI was used. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rowland.
So to, I guess, clarify a little bit, I had sent our legal counsel I guess, opinion from the Office of Financial Management at the state level in regards to AI usage in the workplace and its relationship to union negotiation and labor contracts. I think it would definitely be a good read, though it doesn't necessarily apply to us directly. It's something that we do need to get our heads around, because anytime, essentially, if you are going to use AI in the workplace to make decisions on like employee matters, or going to start using AI in a way that could cause downsizing, so to speak, so you don't need as many people, anything that would impact existing labor agreements, it's something where at the state level, they have to give notice to the union. The union can then, basically ask to go into negotiations on that piece, though they can't necessarily block you from doing it. But it is something important to realize that these tools are very useful, but we have to make sure that we're including all stakeholders in the decision-making process, and hopefully up in front of it. And I think the suggestion for crafting a policy is a very good one. I think it's very important that we do so sooner rather than later. And as part of that, we could take some inspiration from that. But one thing I do want to address is the use of what's called shadow AI. In the IT world, there's shadow IT, which is a term for people bringing in their own programs or downloading things that aren't sanctioned by work. What's being found is shadow AI is when employees are using their personal or publicly available platforms like ChatGPT and other ones that they're paying for out of their own pocket, or the free services to do business-related work. And that has a couple of huge implications for us, one of which being the public records. And I do have a question about that. Don't let me forget. But the other piece of it is that if you provide data to the AI to help you out, let's say you're working on a spreadsheet and you say, this is the spreadsheet, I need help with this thing. Now that file and the content is in another system. Whereas if you're using something like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, we do have access to Copilot internally, which is the Microsoft product. It uses a different model. It actually spins up a standalone AI instance, asks it the questions it needs, and then destroys that instance, so it doesn't exist anymore. So the information isn't retained or used for training purposes. So we've seen instances of data leaking out from companies that then end up in publicly available search queries. So it's something to be aware of, both on the legal side, on the public disclosure side, and dealing with health records as well. It's all things that we need to be watching out for. So as part of the work to create a policy, I do want to make sure that we have approved tools to use, and that we make sure that the use of any unapproved AI is clearly blocked, and hopefully blocked technologically to avoid any implications there. My question around public disclosure is, I guess this is maybe a more philosophical question, but what's the difference between, in the eyes of the law and public records, between a question asked of let's say, Google or Bing or an online search engine, versus one asked of a an AI chatbot?
I think it's because there's a record that can be created, doesn't have to be created. And I think there's settings, I'm not familiar enough with the program, various AI tools, but I think you can have a setting that doesn't save the chatbot interaction. But if there is a record, then that is a record that is subject to the Public Records Act. Whereas when you type a search into Google, I don't believe there's any kind of record that is created with that process. So that's the difference.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see how legislation comes out to handle this.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't know much about AI other than what I use on Google, and it's not very good. So I don't know about the other programs, and that's how we're going to run our country. Are we using AI here?
I'm old Commissioner Lawrence. I do not. But to be fair, I think we are aware of what's going on with AI. We realize AI is in the future. AI is something that's coming. And the question is, I think Commissioner Rowland, your conversation and ours, and some of the dialogue we had, and we've had it with our labor council too, of not being afraid of AI because it's coming. It's how do we do all the things that you just heard about, and I've got tech people that dabble and because you got to use it to understand it, to learn what it does, right? So I'm not going to say people don't use AI, because I think I'd be telling I think people use it. The question is, where do we go? It's new. I think the conversation Richard just had with us, your questions, I think we are still getting our arms around AI. What does it mean? Where can you use it to enhance? Where are there challenges with some of the things? And we're just, from a staff's perspective, we're just trying to figure out those pieces. And then, like you said, Commissioner Rowland, you don't know where the legislature is going to go. And you need to understand, if it creates a public record, what that is, how to retain it. My guess is AI is so new, you don't have some of the software. We used to use Social Archive. I'm not sure what we use anymore for our social media and all that. But you have to have some device that captures and saves it like we do. I think we're just getting arms around it, and we're not.
Do we have
Yeah.
a program that we pay for?
Not that I'm aware of. Just the Copilot with
Oh, no.
Microsoft. It's part of the Microsoft suite.
So what will be most valuable to us, AI or robots?
Well,
Have you thought about this, Chief?
not there. I think I will say there are things with AI that can make an organization more efficient, right? And the question is to do it in a way that's transparent, straight up. I think we've talked about, if you use AI to help generate, it's just like anything else you write, you need to document that AI helped generate what you just did. That's pretty common. When you talk about academic work and those pieces, you have to say where you got the things.
So AI is more for intellectual type pursuits, writing, engineering.
I think it can be used for a lot of things, and Sean knows far more about this than
I know
do.
that sounded funny when I said AI or robots, Mr. Anderson. But
I think that
I mean, that's really going to impact our kind of jobs. Anybody doing physical labor, especially dangerous labor, that's going to have a huge impact. AI, I don't think we're not going to have much use for it. But that's my opinion.
I think the AI, they kind of say AI can help kind of with the menial so that the humans can do the meaningful. For example, if we're going to write up a communication, or if there's a policy or something, you can say, find me 6 fire department policies and compare them for me. And they will do a lot of that menial work. And then the human actually writes the real policy. And then after the policy is written, you'd say, edit this for grammar. So now you're really leveraging the technology. So we put out a better product, but the human creates the product. The AI isn't good at creativity. That's what humans are still good at. So use that with the menial stuff and maybe gathering some policies, maybe helping with the editing on the
Right.
back end, but the human kind of has the heart of it still.
Okay, so yeah, I see benefits of good AI, but it's most. But,
He did that intentionally.
but that's staff, but majority of our people that we pay do things out there physical.
Yep.
And that's where robotics is going to have a big impact.
The
Mark my
original
words, in 20 years from now. you'll
I
look back
always
at
mark
this
your
day.
words. But I mean, the original concerns were a lot of what the jobs you're talking about, but they're actually saying where AI is probably going to have the biggest impact or the biggest threat is going to be middle management. So it's not some of those things that they're worried about. But and I didn't make it up, but if humans are for the creativity, use us for the meaningful things and help it with some of the menial things. Doing a grammar and editing check can actually save a lot of time where you're actually doing the thinking part of what should be in that policy.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
So, thank you, Rich, for being here. It's sort of like having a celebrity rock star that suddenly showed up. We're kind of like groupies, and we're like, "Woo, this is awesome." AI is kind of interesting, and I think of it sort of like a hammer. A hammer can go around smashing windows. You can break things up, but you can also build a house, right? So it's a very simple, but can be a very complex tool in aiding your daily life. I know, at least in my personal experience, I have used AI to help me with projects and these kinds of things, but I also witness AI in a daily setting, and that was an example of an AI responding to a prompt of some kind that it thought it heard and engaging and trying to help out. This is also true, at least in my Google experience, where I'll open up one of my emails, and I've not prompted AI to do anything, but what it's done is analyzed the email, given me a summary of exactly what the email bullet points are, and it can be complex. I can throw a document into Gemini and say, analyze this for let's say a particular category, and it will go through a very complex document and give me the highlight or bullet points extracted from that work. So I think in some ways, when we talk about AI policy, it's AI policy, at least from my point of view, is access point. That's, I think, is the public records nexus, where you have a record by which it can be audited. What did you ask AI to do? But in some ways, I will also push back and say AI is involved without having to go to an app, to Copilot, to Gemini. It's already running, at least in my world, it's already running 6 ways to Sunday in the background. And that's everything from an iPhone with Siri. If I sit up here and I say enough trigger words, phones in this room will start to go crazy. From, hey, Alexa, hey, Siri, hey, Gemini, hey, whatever. My phone will start, I almost guarantee you right now, it's probably having a fit. Because now it's got 3 people trying to all tell me, hello, how are you? What can I do for you? I think we just should take that into account, that it's here. It's not coming. It's here. It's wrapped around us. It's in our environment. It has permeated everything that we do in an electronic state. I go on to Amazon. I get this thing called Rufus that jumps up and says, hi, how are you? You want to order more cat food? I'm like, oh, thanks, Rufus. Could you go away now? I'm just going to go shop for my own cat food. So be aware that it's not coming. It's here. And how we capture the moment to meet a definition of public records access is going to be something that it's going to be rather difficult to define. And the example I would say is that we give away RFA phones to key people in the organization. Those phones all have AI enabled on them in some capacity, likely from the provider. So to say that my policy here needs to be able to audit that experience so we can go back in a forensic way and say, this is what happened, I don't know how we're going to get there. A policy is the first step, but the mechanism by which we actually do an analysis, we might need an AI.
Commissioner Rowland.
I think we've gone down this road and we could probably talk hours about it. And I'd very much be interested in having a longer discussion, maybe at our spring workshop or we call it workshop, right?
Yeah.
At the spring workshop, kind of talking about the art of the possible. I know that I believe it was the City of Seattle's fire department participated in an AI hackathon with Microsoft a couple of months ago, and I don't know what they came up with, but it won the whole thing. But there's departments using it to handle shift trades and people calling in sick and all of that, and automating 70-80% of it, thus freeing up management and staff's time to work on other things instead of having to be dedicated to that. I know it's a big time drain. So I think we need to use it where we can, where it makes sense. And one of the biggest differences, Commissioner Lawrence, between the AI that you're using and what would be used in a commercial context like this is that commercially available AIs are generally trained. They know a lot about everything, but they don't know about your business. They don't know about your data. They don't know about your emails. They don't know about the meetings that you've had, and the tools that are out there now in like Copilot as an example has access to what you give it access to. And there's other tools that you can give access to. Let's just say all of the call data that we use to formulate our staffing recommendations. For a human to go through that and try to figure out how to analyze and chunk it, sometimes there's things that they miss, and sometimes there's anomalies, and you can literally give it restricted access to certain pieces of data and then ask questions to it, just like you would ask a human, and find out really insightful things without having to know how to write complex queries. So I think there's a lot of benefits to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can leverage it to good effect here.
Commissioner Wankelman.
Thank you. AI was a big portion of my master's degree that I just finished at Hopkins, and it is an incredible tool. Big conversations that we were having in DC about this is the ethical concerns. And that is a conversation that I really would recommend that we have in future meetings. And I'm looking forward to this. But again, this is a powerful tool. It is here to stay. And the impact that it will have both in this region, in our nation, and at the RFA is important to investigate. So I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Great. Any other questions for Mr. Davis on the legal report? Great. Thank you.
Apologies for taking more than my allotted time. Thank you.
All right. That moves us forward on the agenda to item number 11, which is the union report. Do we have anybody from the union for a report? Chief's shaking his head no. No. Oh. No. Okay. No union report. All right. That moves us forward then to item number 12, which is unfinished business, legislative issues and participation. Chief Eastman.
Good evening again. I think I'll start we've got Ledge Day, the commissioners and the fire chiefs at the end of the month. I know there's 3 commissioners going and there's several of my staff going. We're going down the night before. We're planning dinner that night prior to, actually it was District 4. They've got their fire chief commissioner coming down that wants to join us. I think it'll be great. And then we'll be on the Hill on the 29th doing, for those that have been there, we'll get a brief from both the fire chief's lobbyist and the commissioner's lobbyist about the things that they have on their agenda. It tends to be a quick rapid fire. We tend to go in groups. And so that's coming, that's set. It's what we historically have done. I'm playing phone tag with David Foster, who's our lobbyist. I'm hoping to have an intergovernmental as soon as you form committees. One of the requests from me would be is that as soon as we can, and I've talked to Melissa, to get an intergovernmental committee meeting next week and a CFP meeting next week, Capital Cities Planning Group next week, as we've got we got a short session, so there's some work we need to do, and there's probably some additional times that staff and commissioners who want to be part of the legislative lobby we have going on, specifically with the fire marshal's agreement or the fire marshal's legislation. We kind of like to know who wants to do that because some of those times are quick. And we'll get notified that they've moved the hearing up and we gotta be down there in 3 hours. That's kind of how some of this works. And so if there's commissioners that are available to go to that and want to go do that, doesn't mean the day they happen, if you have to have something going, that's okay. But staff would like to know who those are and be on the quick call list so we can make sure that those that are, raise their hand, so to speak, we can make sure you're on the quick dial, and we can mobilize quickly to get down if we need to, or sometimes you have a little bit more time, spend the night, do our thing, come back. I don't know exactly what's happening. As everybody knows, it's a dollars and cents thing down in Olympia this year, and I'm not sure what the flavor is of the temperature. I'll get a better idea. And we're fortunate, AJ Johnson, who's one of our captains, is one of the lobbyists for the state council. And I keep in contact with AJ because I get a pretty good, between Mr. Foster and AJ, I get a pretty good barometer of what's happening and what's moving, what's not moving. And I know some of the future conversation that we'd like to have on the legislative conversation is we know about the fire marshal House bill that we have. We don't have a Senate companion bill yet. I'm working on it. But there's kind of a strategy that we need to talk about, both the administration and governance, about where are we, what is the long term, what role. There's a role that we as staff need to play, and there's a role that we can't play that U7 need to play on on behalf of the RFA, and sometimes that's a huge time commitment thing, and everybody has lives and all that. So we'd like to continue the conversation about what we're going to do. And, we're active in Olympia right now. I believe in the future we'll be more active locally. And I know we went back with the Western Fire Chiefs, which was actually, I believe the folks that went, it was a good event. I think we need to take and continue to do that. We are a leader in Washington State, and quite frankly, as a result of that, we're leaders in the Western, and get to know our legislators in Washington D.C., and continue to map where we want to concentrate our efforts, and they may be different. I see sometimes where the chiefs and the staff are doing certain things and the commissioners are doing something else because of where we are in the process, right? Where the commissioners are going back to Washington D.C. for a very specific item it's more appropriate for the commissioners to be back there, and we're working an issue at the state level. So I think there's more conversation needs to be had. I'd like to, when we get to the intergovernmental committee set and meet, start having that conversation about what does that actually what does that look like? Our legislative, how we're going to do that as an organization. I mean, we got a lobbyist, we have a very specific issue we did that for, which was, the fire marshal's office and trying to legislatively get some contradictory RCWs and fix it that way. But I think it's bigger than that. And you commissioners outside of the county exec, the sheriff, the treasurer, and the assessor represent more people than any elected in Snohomish County. And with that comes, I think, a responsibility of, and I'm not sure what that is, but there's a responsibility that goes along with that when the 70 of you are elected by roughly 140 to 150,000 representatives in the RFA. And we're large, and what role are we going to take legislative? I think there's more to come from that. But it's got to be connected where staff and the legislative body, the commissioners, we're running. And if we're going to go down a path, we need commitment to go do that on all sides. And if we don't have the bandwidth, then we got to figure out where the priorities are going to be and do that work. And I think that needs to be a continued conversation. We're going to have that conversation with intergovernmental to start, and then hopefully bubble up. But I'd like to know, commissioners, who, at least with our state initiative, if you are available or want to make yourself available, if there's hearings to go attend, not necessarily speak, but to be there as we go and testify, if those come available. Staff would like to know who's interested and available to do that, so we can make sure that that happens. And like I said, it's a short session, so things happen really, really quick. And there may be, now we've got eyes down there with Mr. Foster, that there may be legislation that comes up that historically would not have been our radar, and get asked, you need to come down and be in the room because this will have an impact on, and you add in whatever it is, transportation issues. All those things do impact us in one way or other. So that's kind of my brief of getting us thinking and moving forward. We'll work through intergovernmental to start and continue conversations with the rest of the board. I'm sure Commissioner Wittes has ideas, because some of this launching off last year was part of him driving the boat to get us to start being a little bit more active in that arena as an organization. So that's kind of what I wanted to offer up, and there'll be more conversations about that. And with that, I'll pause. And
Commissioner Fernhoff.
Thank you, Chief, for that. I was one of the ones that went like this when you asked last time. And so I've have a hotel room. I have minimal instructions. So this is a healthy conversation, for at least for me personally. Maybe everybody else here on the board has already been through this and are experts, but I am not. So guidance I will be looking for. And I like your distinction between some orbits include commissioners and some orbits don't. Like to be aware of both orbits, though, because I think there's an opportunity to be short-circuited while standing in front of somebody of importance who says, well, your other guy just said this, and now you're saying that, right? So if we can circle and close that loop ahead of time, I'm looking forward to some sort of briefing, some sort of what are the hot button issues, what's changed, and why is it important? Because if we don't have our why clear in any discussion we have with folks up there, you know that their attention span's that tall, and they're very easily distracted by the loudest voice in the room. So thank you, sir.
yes, sir.
Commissioner Rowland.
I think this will be the first year that I missed it. I'll be down in California doing, oddly enough, a presentation on responsible AI usage to the California government and University of California's individuals. So wish you the best of luck, and very interested to hear what comes out of it.
Commissioner Chan.
Yeah, I haven't been down to Olympia for a while, so I'm very interested to catch up with all that. But I think more importantly too, I think we need to think about a county. I think functionally that is critical for emergency room, for all that. And in a sense, we are the largest, organization in here. So we, on the county-wise, we need to be a leader. Well, I don't want to be presumptuous, but we need to lead, or at least active on that.
Chief, you mentioned the fire marshal's bill. Are we are we, heavily involved in any other bills similar? At a
I
similar
think
level to the fire marshal's one?
not right now. I think there's things we're watching, Sean. I know there's a couple that are on the radar, but they're not like they're not currently where we are with the fire marshal, our House bill right now.
That sounds good.
So again, I'm a follow-up
Commissioner
question.
Chan. Yeah, Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
Yeah. Are there any other fire district or fire RFA our size are going down there are they pushing something else too?
I guess I'm going to look at Sean, because I know Sean he's on the state chiefs. He was on the last legislative briefing. I'm going to let Sean kind of let you know what he knows. He's a little bit more up to date than I am.
Yeah, circling back, Commissioner Furhoff, the state chiefs does a really good job. They create an entire briefing on all the relevant topics. And then when we get down there before we go and do a visit, they give a verbal briefing over it. And then we all go out and we all have our platforms and the things important to the fire service. So they do a really good job equipping everybody. Our next, I do attend all the ledge meetings for the state, and our next one, I was just checking, it will be before the commissioner meeting next Tuesday, and I suspect they're going to give us a pretty primed up briefing then. So if you guys would like a quick briefing, we will have the freshest information next Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Chief.
Chair, it looks like we have the union, Connor.
Oh, okay. We've got Connor Holtum on the Zoom. And are we able to elevate him to into the meeting? Yeah.
Hey, I'm here.
Did you have any report tonight from Local 1828?
Sorry, one second. We are just coming back from a call.
Yeah, no problem.
So if there's any way I can delay my report for 5 minutes or so, would that work?
Yeah, we'll go on and take some other things.
Okay,
Sounds good.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, back to the agenda then. And we finished with item 12. We're on to item 13A, which is board committee appointments or committee creation, deletion, which we take up at the first meeting of the year traditionally. And so I sent to you my recommendation on the 2026, only the board fills, creates and dissolves and fills committees. But I wanted to at least start the conversation with a recommendation as to filling each of the committee. I know the 911 representative is not really a committee, but we kind of describe it in the committee process. It's really a delegate from the board, but we don't have any with the fire chief contract committee going away at the end of the year. I'm not seeing any need for any additional committees to what we have, at least recently, traditionally have: intergovernmental, finance and human resources, and capital facilities. So you have the list on there of my recommendation, but it's the board's decision. So I'll open the floor for thoughts, ideas, preferences. And Commissioner Lawrence.
No, I'm good with what you sent us. It's like nothing's really changed except for we have a new guy.
Well, then I think we're probably ready for a motion. So I would move that that we assign the following commissioners to the following committees: for Snohomish County 911 representative, Commissioner Fernhoff; and our governmental committee, Commissioners Wittes, Chan, and Rowland; Finance and Human Resources Committee, Commissioners Chan, Lawrence, and Wankelman; and then a board liaison Morris as a non-voting member; Capital Facilities Committee, Commissioners Lawrence, Wankelman, and Kenny, with Morris as a non-voting city liaison. So I move that the board make those assignments for those committees for 2026. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Fernhoff. It's been moved and seconded to make those assignments. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And as I indicated in my recommendation, each committee can decide upon a chair to make the report back to the committees at regular intervals. Great, thank you. All right, that takes us to 13B, board priorities for planning. This is just for discussion. I wanted to at least prompt you. In the past, we've had different different timelines for taking on board priorities. I recommend that we at least do a board priorities exercise to both for ourselves, but also for the chief and his staff, to have a sense of what our board priorities are for 2026. In the recent past, what we've done is we've had the chief put together a list of potential priorities. Then we take that in, have commissioners add items to it that may not be on there, to create a longer list, and then have a subsequent meeting or a period of time between that and the next meeting where commissioners then vote with a certain number of, and I'm using that loosely, but like identify, everybody gets 5 things that they can put a check mark next to, or 10, or however many it's going to be. If we had 100 items, maybe 10 apiece. If we have 15 items, maybe only 5, but we could talk about that. And then send those into Ms. Blankenship, and then she puts together the list, and we come back at the next meeting and then talk about it, and then finalize a potential list. And we've called it different things at different times, kind of depending on how much support there is for certain items. Like these items are the board priorities, ranked 1 to whatever. And then in the past, we've had a line and other things that are on the list, but don't make, maybe have a majority or have much support. They can either fall off the list or they can be on the list. We can kind of figure out how we want to handle that, to create some prioritization, both for ourselves and our staff, regarding the priorities for 2026. That generally takes probably over about a 3 meeting period of time. In the more distant past, we did a dot exercise, which I know that not everybody liked. And we actually put the dots physically on them on the wall. But we can do a version of that electronically. And as long as we come and talk about it and set the list here at the board. Hold on one second. But I'd suggest that we do that to have a board priorities process. But we don't have to, and that's why I'm bringing it up tonight, because I want to get the ball rolling on should we not? I suggest that we do, but we don't have to. So I was hoping to at least generate a discussion about that. Commissioner Lawrence, then Commissioner Winkelmann. Commissioner Lawrence.
Yes, I'm all for the dot exercise because I sell my dots. I,
Okay, Commissioner Winkelmann.
Being new to the commission, I'd really appreciate this opportunity to understand priorities and get a better understanding so I can expand my learning and integrate in a smoother way. So.
Sounds good. Other thoughts? Commissioner Chan?
Yeah, I think it's critical. I think we know that 2026 is a really busy schedule for, especially the bond thing. And also that, I assume that we're going to have a April workshops and
We'll be talking about the
retreat,
schedule.
the
Yeah.
schedule
I don't know about a
retreat.
retreat, but it's for sure a workshop.
Well, retreat or workshop, whatever it is, but it is critical because a lot of time, the issue we're not really discussing more detail. It's kind of run over it without any really point out the major thing critical thing that we need to do. So I'll support that.
Other thoughts? Any comments? Well, I'm generally hearing support for that idea. So I'll work with Ms. Blankenship and Chief Eastman to move forward on a process, which we can talk about at the next meeting. But like I said, probably take about 3 meetings to get it done. That's probably the first meeting of February, second meeting of February, and we get it wrapped up. So, I think that the dots. How much are the dots? Well, that depends on what Commissioner Lawrence is selling it for.
Lion a man, buddy.
All right, that sounds good for 2026 process. And I think we've got Connor Holtum back online with us, Political Director from 1828, ready to for a brief report.
Yeah. Hello, commissioners,
Good
chiefs,
evening.
staff, admin, guests. Just wanted to wish everyone a happy new year. Congratulations to Commissioner Winkelmann on officially joining the board, and to Kenny and Lawrence on your re-elections. From the union side of things, we're continuing our fundraising efforts for the firefighter stair climb in March. We had a really successful fundraiser at the Alderwood Mall, raising almost $2,400 in an afternoon of being out there and climbing. So that's the major update I got from our side for this meeting. So happy New Year, all. Thanks.
Happy New Year. Thank you. Okay, See, we're back then to item 13, new business, board priorities. We're on to item 13C, which is Community Risk Reduction Week resolution. And is this Director Veely? Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, commissioners. I'm here to talk about Community Risk Reduction Week, which is January 19th through 25th this year. But it's really about what we do every single day of the year. And that is by reducing risk in our community, we keep our community safer. And the reason that we recognize this week is it's a reminder of all of the different aspects of our expertise that come together to serve our community and do our job to keep them safer. We talk about the 5 E's of community risk reduction. One of them is emergency response, and I think that's the biggest part of what we do. But there are others, including education. That means, helping our residents understand how their behavior can impact their safety. And our outreach team has been doing such a great job through our smoke alarm programs, through our ACT training, all kinds of classes that we have that we're working to keep our community safer. We also do this through enforcement. Our fire prevention division, they make sure that businesses are following the codes that are going to keep our community safer. There's aspects of engineering, things like fire sprinklers that can help prevent deaths or injuries from fires and put them out faster. And there's also economic incentives that can be used to incentivize residents or businesses to take steps to be safer. All of these things work together to keep our community safe, and it's imperative that we understand how they all play a role in that. And so we would ask the board to adopt the resolution proclaiming January 19th through 25th, 2026 as Community Risk Reduction Week in recognition of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there general questions from the board on the Community Risk Reduction Week issue? Commissioner Fernhoff, go ahead.
I appreciate you bringing this to the board, and it really is important to recognize beyond the response, all of the other components that we offer our community. In no small way, a little known fact, I actually became an ACT instructor before joining the RFA, and that was my introduction to the RFA, which put me onto a Facebook group that ultimately led to a posting that said Commissioner Wanted. And so I ended up here. So thank you. Thank you for the program. Thank you for bringing this to the board.
Any other general questions on Community Risk Reduction Week? If not, I think we're ready for a motion. I'll move the adoption of Resolution 0106-2026-01, resolution proclaiming January 19 through 25, 2026 as Community Risk Reduction Week. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner Chan. It's been moved and seconded to adopt that resolution. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on Commissioner Chan?
Or just relate to that, I think it's critical for your job. And I think while we cannot measure it, well, it's difficult to measure it, but it is, we always have that as in mind, is that stop the call that we never make. I mean, thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Great, thank you. That moves us forward in the agenda to item 13D, which is the Ready Rebound renewal request for 2026-2028. I think we have Deputy Chief Mike Hudson here to present. And I think, is this for discussion only tonight? Discussion only? Yes, great. Good evening, Chief Hudson.
Good evening. See if I can get this PowerPoint going here. All right. All right, good evening, board, staff, and public. Mike Hudson. I'm here to discuss some return to work programs, and with that, the Ready Rebound renewal subscription. So Ready Rebound will be the first topic that we discuss, but the second topic for the return to work is the L&I fire program. And just to make sure we don't have any typos there, that is 2 I's in the fire program from L&I. It stands for Firefighter Injury and Illness Reduction. The Health and Safety Division, with collaboration from HR, oversees these return to work programs. And the first one we're going to look at again is Ready Rebound. If you think of a professional athlete when they get hurt on the field, you think of the Seahawks, think of Sam Darnold or whoever it may be. They don't wait weeks or months to be seen. They can be seen on the sidelines. They can go into the tent, get an image, follow up with any type of physical therapy or surgery or whatever it may be. This Ready Rebound is our department's version of that. So when somebody gets hurt, whether it's a firefighter or a family member, they can call the 24/7 line for Ready Rebound, and they will expedite service for our people to get them back to work, saving us thousands of dollars in backfill overtime as an overview. So the way it works is somebody calls and then Ready Rebound will get back to that person within hours. That's their goal. Their goal then is to get you seen within 3 days is their standard. And the core navigator works with the individual to make sure that all of their treatments are processed and they get through, whether it's physical therapy, whether it's surgery, whether it's just imaging, whatever it is, that care navigator works with that individual throughout the entire process. In the end, this reduces recovery time. So prior to this program, it could be weeks before somebody sees the specialist. It could be further weeks or months before they see the doctor that then has the imaging for them. It could then be further weeks and months before they actually have surgery. Ready Rebound's goal is to get the person back to work 12 weeks sooner than prior to this program. And looking over the last 3 years, because this is a renewal is what we're talking about, backfill overtime has saved this program has saved us approximately $500,000 on averages in backfill overtime. The renewal rate has increased from $80,000 per year to $84,000 per year and some change, as you can see by the number. And this dollar amount has already been budgeted for 2026, so it's already been approved. What we're looking at is that renewal of subscription, which locks in that rate for the 3 years of 2026, 2027, and 2028. That covers the Ready Rebound program. The second return to work program that I'd like to talk about a little bit is this L&I fire program. Again, 2 I's in fire stands for Firefighter Injury and Illness Reduction. This is a program designed to reduce occupational injuries and illnesses and exposures. We have requirements in the Health and Safety Division. You can see those requirements listed there. We have to attend quarterly meetings. We have to work on our safety improvement plan, whether it's review it, adjust it, make modifications to it. We have to do the same thing for our accident prevention program. We have to review it and update it and submit it to L&I for approval. And then we have to complete quarterly questionnaires. If we do those, we're then eligible for grants up to $40,000 that they match. We have applied for that grant in the past. We ended up securing storm sticks, which are a decontamination piece of equipment that we put on 15 of our engines. We did that a few years ago. My plan this year is to most likely submit again for another grant for a bender lift piece of equipment, which can go on aid cars or medic units or even the engines to help them lift patients to hopefully decrease those musculoskeletal injuries that we're seeing. By being a member of this or by participating in all these agency requirements, we save 10% on our L&I premiums. And the estimated annual savings of that over the 3 years that we've been involved is about $325,000 annually. That is a quick report on return to work programs. Are there any questions?
Questions from the board member, Chief Hudson. Commissioner Rowland.
You said there's $500,000 a year in savings for the Ready Rebound program. How is that calculated?
Yeah, it's an estimate that Ready Rebound uses on backfill. We can't say that it's 100% accurate dollar for dollar because of the complexity of our schedules. But what we can tell you is even if that number is half right, it still pays for itself annually because of the ability for people to return to work quicker.
Do we have any sort of internal study that we've done or looking at how we're using it, what our experience has been with it?
Yeah, they provide us a dashboard, and that dashboard tells us how many cases are used each year. And it can be complementary cases as well. So for me personally, I've used it for my daughter when she sprained her ankle. We got in within, I think it was 2 days for imaging. So they do provide us a dashboard that tells us the utilization. And we're a department that utilizes Ready Rebound quite well.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Other questions for Chief Hudson? Commissioner Chan, then Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yeah, I think, so the rebound is basically for not just a firefighter, it's his family and everything else in there. Now, I know I haven't really paid attention lately. What is our L&I rate now? Is that I know that in general, other business, if L&I is what the major thing. And then if you have injury, you have a continue, then your rate is higher and then all that. What is that?
I don't have the exact dollar amount for what the L&I rate is this year. I believe that typically goes to finance. CFO Bothwell may have that exact number. I don't want to take a guess and miss, so I'd be happy to research it and get back to you later.
Yeah, so I would like to, those are quantifying number that can improve. This program will work, rather than estimate. Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Fernhoff.
Okay. You're claiming this is reducing the downtime of our firefighters, but I'm hearing that families are taking part in this as well. How does this differ? Balance the books for me with our internal self-insurance that we have, the HMA, and then overlaying this. How do they complement each other? Does one cancel another out?
No, it goes through insurance. Ready Rebound, you're paying for access for these relationships that Ready Rebound has built.
Okay.
Through certifications or not certifications, but through whatever relationships they've built.
And I see a cost here, $252,102.02, and we're prepaying for 26, 27, and 28 at the cost of $84,033.34 and change ahead of time. Is that what we're doing, or is this going to be something that is?
It's billed annually.
Billed annually
at $84,000.
So we couldn't pay it all up front right now and lock those figures in.
They're going to be locked in with the subscription.
But is there any chance that could change? Or
No.
is there a contract that we can review that says this will be the price?
Yes, legal has reviewed the master services agreement, and we
Okay.
have an order form that's listed as part of this that locks in that rate for the 3 years. I think it's the last page in your
So
pamphlet.
It says 358 members. So this is only uniformed personnel that can actually access this?
They expand it to others.
Who's others?
So that could be you. That could be administrative staff. It could be your family member. They don't dive, and they've said this, they don't really go too far into the weeds of who's calling. If you say South County Fire, you're going to be part of the network, covered as part of that 350 people, which is how I'm able to get my daughter in
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
Other questions, Commissioner Rowland?
So this is kind of like one of those fast passes when you go to the amusement park. It gets you kind of a bump in the line.
Yeah, and it saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars because we're not waiting for those people to get back to work
Gotcha.
months in advance.
It's also beyond that though, because as you pointed out, it now covers, I guess my question, you said it recently started covering families, or what did I?
It's always covered them.
Okay, and is that something that's optional? Is that something that's always included? Is that,
It's been included.
upsell type thing?
It's been included since we started it 3 years ago.
Okay. The only reason I'm kind of asking these questions is I totally understand the need for it for our line workers, the value to the organization. I do understand its value also to, as a benefit to our employees. At the same time, we have to kind of balance that with the increasing prices that we're seeing in our insurance costs. And if you give someone very quick access to specialists that can be used kind of electively. My only concern with this is that, you know, if somebody sprains their ankle and all of a sudden they're in see an orthopedist, you know, when that's really not necessary, but this program gives us the ability to, insurance then pays for it automatically. And it's just a very, definitely a premium experience for anyone that has access to it. And just, I don't know where exactly I'm going with this, to be honest. I understand it to be something that carries with it a cost. Even though it's $83,000, the question I would have is how much money did we spend in insurance, you know, costs to fund the actual getting everybody in right away? And then how that would get broken out versus for employees versus dependents and all that stuff. I don't know if we can get into that, if it would even make a difference, to be honest. But I just wanted to note that with our increasing costs in insurance, this program is kind of a dual-edged sword.
Commissioner Rowland, I totally understand what you're saying, and I think that's a really good thought. I think what you're describing would definitely be the exception versus the rule. Just for example, you know, we have a firefighter, because this is both for that, or we'll say an L&I situation. We have a firefighter that injures their knee. We bring them on to light duty. They could be lingering here for months and months while we're paying backfill overtime. We're paying their wage, and they're waiting and waiting. And these guys, sometimes within days, have them into the system. You have a couple of those, and you've paid for this program. I mean, it's painful to watch people at headquarters trying to go through the L&I system for months at a time, where we have this backfill overtime of a shift position. So if those exceptions happen, I think they would pale in comparison to the benefits. In fact, I think we're going to be looking for more of these programs as the cost of healthcare goes up, and trying to keep people healthy mentally and physically at work. I think these are the programs that we need to lean into and find more of these programs. How do we keep people healthy and uninjured and at work? Both to reduce the cost of healthcare and reduce the cost of staffing. I think this is going to be one of the priorities of the next 5 or 10 years. These kind of costs, whether it be staffing or costs, I think they're a threat we have to look at and to mitigate, and these are going to be things we have to figure out for the stability of the organization.
The other piece to that is the mental health side. So if somebody is off work and they're out for an extended period of time, there's a mental health component that goes with that. They're no longer to be part of that team that they're used to. So if we can get them back to work faster, you're saving on that mental health part as well. Ready Rebound is also looking at, and they've got some pilot programs for oncology and cardiac. So Central Pierce is in the kind of the beta phase, working with Ready Rebound on oncology. So if we've got somebody that comes down with cancer, within the next year or so is what they're talking about, we should be able to call Ready Rebound for that as well, to get them into an oncologist faster.
I do want to just at least clarify, I'm not against it, especially for you know, our employees, or by any means. I was just more remarking on the fact of what its implications are once it gets extended out from that, the benefits and all of that. So I didn't want to make it seem like I don't see the value in this.
It wasn't taken that. It was a good thought. It wasn't taken that way at all.
Commissioner Chan.
Yeah, maybe I can answer some of your questions. And in my, when I was consulting, one of the, I think I mentioned many times, Molly May is a household. I think my questions are actually a question too, because these people not only kind of helping them, but they monitoring, right? To make sure they are, I think a lot of time when the patient or whoever they're injured, knowing that they're being monitored, so to speak, helping, that will really helping the whole process. Because again, I'm going back to L&I rate as very, for that particular client, they become very higher than construction. So at the end, we kind of have attorney kind of specialize this in monitoring to make sure that's going. I think that's critical too. I think at the same time, I hope the injured people feel that they're being cared of, right? Somebody taking, they care about the improvement, they care about all that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to get some kind of using data to prove that we're making, if I get from Chris Bothwell, for some of the data, then I think we can justify that. Thank you.
Okay, so this item will be on for action at one of our upcoming meetings.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chief Hudson.
Thank you.
All right, so that moves us forward in the agenda then to commissioner comments. Item number 14. Are there any commissioner comments? Commissioner Chan, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'd like to welcome our newest commissioner. Welcome in here. I think just based on your experience and knowledge you have, I think we can use it a lot. And I was welcome all the three new elected commissioner. So
Thank you. I'll give you a discount on the dots.
okay. I just wanted to say that I always making a joke that fire commissioner is like the comedian, what's his name now? Got no respect. Dangerfield, Roger Dangerfield, right? So a lot of times but now I really feel that just the report tonight about, unfortunately, the fatal person in there, but I think we are in here literally saving life. I think that really, to me, get me excited, energy, and really direct effect to it. And I don't want, some of you know, I was in Hong Kong when the whole big fire came out. So I learned a lot of stuff. One of my friends, he actually lived in one of the building that was burned, so I can share with you some other time. But I think also too, I always going to go to every new place. I want to know the fire system. I know the EMS and all that. And unfortunately, I went to the emergency, not me, I was with friends, went to the emergency room twice. So I know how they clear, they literally, the EMS, the ambulance, literally went in there and basically take all the laundry, put it in and leave because they have a EMS person in there in case anything follow up. So I got that's amazing the way you do it. But anyway, so that is and then I also see how they promote, how many going through the people, their volume much higher. But one of these days I'm going to share with you, I know that besides the motorcycle medic, they have some other thing that I think you can look at to see how to compare. Thank you.
Other commissioner comments? Commissioner Fernhoff.
Yeah, I'd just like to welcome our new commissioner, Michaelman, to the board as well, and congratulate you on your reelection. I won't bore you with any stories from Hong Kong.
Other commissioner comments? I wanted to add that the Snow Isle Fire Commissioners annual banquet and meeting is coming up Saturday, January 24th. 6 p.m. social hour, 7 p.m. Dinner over at Sean O'Donnell's across the freeway at 128th and the freeway. So I encourage you to come out and socialize a little bit with fire commissioners from across Snohomish and Island counties, mostly Snohomish County. We usually have the executive director of the WFCA, Roger Ferris, come and give a legislative update. So I encourage everybody to consider coming out for that. I wanted to offer an additional commissioner comment that this is the beginning of my next 6-year term on the Board of Commissioners. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the voters of South County Fire for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. it's interesting to participate in democracy. And earlier tonight, you may have seen a number of Cub Scouts that were over here in the meeting room. And for the first time ever, I was requested by the Cub Scout group at Silver Firs Elementary in the Silver Firs area where I live to speak to them about being a local elected official. And they wanted me to meet at 6:30. That was their regular meeting time, first Tuesday of the month. And I can't do that because I'm in transit here. So I said, why don't you come over to our meeting and we'll just talk in the community room. And I thought they were more interested in some of the fireside things that we do, even though we don't have any fire trucks here. I thought there'd be something else interesting. So I had them come and then I asked them if they would do the flag salute. So it was interesting, though, that they didn't really want to talk about fire things. They wanted to talk about elections. And so they asked some nice questions about that. And thank you to Chief Eastman for saying a few words to the Cub Scouts. But anyways, we talked about democracy, and it's democracy in action at the local level is interesting. It's not just about the presidency or senators or the governor. It actually exists at the very local level, and fire commissioner is the localest of local levels. But it is still important for all of the people in the community for one of the two most important public services that I think government provides, which is fire service and police services. On the fire service side, having elected individuals from the community that oversee this service is important. It's important for all the dollars that flow through here, all the service that we provide. And while it may not get a lot of attention, it's really important, and we need good people to step forward and serve on this board, and we have good people on the board doing that. And so it's a pleasure to serve the voters of South County Fire, and I look forward to serving all of them over the next number of years. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Wankelman.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the support and for this opportunity. I'm very humbled and I recognize the gravity of this, and truly getting to know everybody here has been an honor and a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to what's to come.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? If not, we have an executive session coming up. It'll be an executive session for collective bargaining pursuant to RCW 4231-44A. We'll take about a 10-minute break as we go back to executive session. Let's say we're started at 9 o'clock, and Chief, an hour? Should we go 9 to 10, 45, 30?
Let's try 45.
45.
And then if we have to extend for 15 minutes, we can.
Okay, we're going to call it for 45 minutes from 9 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. in executive session. And Chief, we do not anticipate taking action at the conclusion of executive session. So with that, we will be in a brief recess, about 10 minutes or so, back to executive session. Thank you. Yeah, no, not on this one.
The South County Fire regular meeting has been called back to order at 10:05 p.m. and without objection, the meeting is adjourned.